I am here at Queen City Coffee Collective's Roastery. We're gonna meet up with Luke, who's gonna take us on a tour of their roasting facility, show us where they make the magic happen. Let's go.
So this is the Queen City Roastery. Got all of our offices up front. It's Friday, so it's pretty quiet and chill around here. But yeah, Monday through Thursday are kind of our main roasting days. We've got 7 shops around town that we're providing for, and then probably a book of business around like 100 different wholesale. Mostly local, kind of Front Range, Boulder, and all of that. But then coast to coast as well, and a little bit of international. And yeah, we do make all that magic here.
What's your weekly volume that you're putting out?
So we're around 2,500 pounds, give or take, depending on the week. We do cold brew as well. This is where we do everything. This is our kind of main packaging area here. Fridays are, like I said, very quiet around here. All the coffee's kind of out the door at this point. Our main seller is our house blend Belafonte. So what we do on Fridays is we just build up a big stock for next week because that is what goes out primarily to most of our wholesale accounts. We don't use this in the shops. Our cafes are pretty unique in that we feature single origin coffees on espresso, and it's barista's choice. So we like to give autonomy to the baristas.
Whoever's opening the shop that day?
Yep. And so we have a whole Slack channel called Spro Talk, where they go in and they say, hey, here's the coffee I'm using today. Here's the recipe that I dialed in on. And the whole company gets to see that. So we get to kind of have a fun, hey, what are you guys throwing on Spro today? And then we can also track on the quality control side. We can track out, oh, cool. 5-1 Shop is doing, an Ethiopia natural, and they're running it at this recipe. We can then, try it up in our lab, see where they're at, just.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's been fun. So yeah, Belafonte though, this is what goes out. All of our restaurant accounts use it. The big hotels and stuff like that. So
what's in it?
So we say Steve Zissou. This is a little reference to Life Aquatic. Belafonte is the flagship ship that they're on.
Yeah.
So it is a rotating double origin. Through most of the year, it is going to be a Nicaraguan coffee that comes from this family that we work with in the Jinoteca area, the Corrales family. We've been working with them so Luke actually met them prior to us starting Queen City. He was down in Nicaragua and just ended up meeting Sarah, the daughter. He was playing on this little local soccer team in Matagalpa and just hanging out in Nicaragua. And so he went out to their farms, was like, yo, you guys are awesome. And so when we started Queen City, we tried to find a way to get their coffee, and it was probably year 2, year 3 of us operating that we were finally able to get it.
Right.
And so yeah, we do a wash lot and a natural lot from them, and then that's what we blend together for most of the year. We do also sometimes put some Brazil in there depending on seasonality, but for the most part, it's going to be that Nicaraguan coffee. And the Corraleses are the coolest family. Byron's a madman when it comes to his biodynamic philosophies.
Yeah.
So when you're on his farm, he's walking around and he's picking up goat shit, and he's like, this is your coffee.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is what makes your actual coffee. And you're like,
Yeah.
And he's always petting his goats, and he's like, these are coffee producers.
Yeah. That's lovely.
He's such a badass. Yeah, we love Byron.
What split of your coffee is single origins versus blends then?
Totally. So Bella, and then we do a darker version of Belafonte called Bottle Rocket. Those are the Wes Anderson. Wes Anderson reference. But those are our only 2 perennial blends that we do. Everything else is going to be seasonal single O's. Our main focus is to show producers. We try as much as possible to work with single producers so that we can really highlight individuals. And then over here, this is where the good stuff happens. What's up, Joan? So this is Joan.
Hello.
This is actually Joan's first week.
Whoa. Welcome.
Keep me busy.
Cleaning day. Friday cleaning. Friday roaster cleaning.
Yeah, prevent fires.
Yes. Do it. Yeah.
I talked to my first week of roasting actually.
Oh, yeah?
With Andrew at Roseport.
Uh-huh.
I had a little policy.
Yeah, webinar.
was one of the best pieces of advice I ever got, actually.
Yeah.
Like, how do you become a more...
Oh, that was you. Oh, I fucking love that.
Don't focus on confidence, focus on
Curiosity.
Facts.
No. Truly. No, I tell that story all the time because people like, yeah, I think you were the first person to put that question into like those exact terms. But a lot of roasters, especially like new roasters, but even roasters who've been roasting for many years, are like, I don't know when I'll ever like get there. I don't know when I'll ever feel like I know what I'm doing. So yeah, I use that all the time. Like there was this one time that I was doing a webinar and somebody was like, how do I become a confident roaster? And I was like, don't focus on confidence, focus on curiosity, and the confidence will be built. So that's awesome. Yeah. Oh, that's so great. Hi, nice to meet you in person.
But yeah, we're putting this machine to work, which means it's putting Joan to work.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're only on this 15 kilo loring. We actually picked it up from a lay grill on an auction, so
Nice.
we were trying to get a much bigger machine, but it was such a good deal. We're like, well,
This is the one that was in Tennyson?
no, this one was in Chicago actually.
Oh.
But our very first machine is actually that little baby up there. So that's a 1.5 kilo. We were put that in my garage in 2016. And we just had a little dryer vent going out the window. And my basement was filled with coffee from Hingakawa, the women in Rwanda. And yeah, so my whole house just smelled like green. And then we were roasting in the garage, and my neighbor kept calling the health department. And he was like, this can't be legal. And so I had the health department show up like 10 different times. And they kept being like, they were like, as long as like, because we have like cottage laws here in Colorado. And they're like, as long as you're not exceeding like these amount of sales, like you should be fine. And I was like, well, I definitely want to exceed this kind of stuff. So,
Eventually.
yeah, eventually I would really like to do that. So yeah, we ended up building out a roastery and a buddy's coffee and whiskey bar. So yeah, we were on that for way too long. We'd get like 100-pound order and be like, cool, we're real.
All-nighter.
We're better, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think we got up to like 300 pounds a week on that little guy.
That's impressive.
Oh, dude, we were breaking. So you got this guy. We got that in 2018 when we opened up our first shop, and we rocked that for way too long again. And then we got this, and we're rocking it for way too long. Yeah. Like
Yeah, how many batches are you doing per week?
80? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's over 4 days.
4 days.
Yeah. I'm still learning the volumes, but yeah.
Sure.
Like 70 to 80.
Wow.
Yeah.
You don't ever fire up the drum roaster anymore?
Dude, we thought about it. Shit. It's right now.
Well, yeah.
It's cleaning day. It's roaster cleaning day.
Yeah.
1 week.
Yeah, we don't really fire up much anymore.
More.
We kind of keep it as a backup, in case the loring goes down. But honestly, one time the loring went down, we were like, it's so inefficient for us to try to do, 2,500 pounds on this thing. We just called up from some buddies and we're like, hey, cool, come roast on your, 70 kilo.
Yeah.
So that.
Moving from that to that, did you have a hard time like transferring profiles that, the differences between air and drum roasting?
100%. Yeah, it was like totally new copies.
Absolutely.
Which we like gave all of our wholesale accounts a little heads up. We started to get like samples out to them, being like, hey, you're gonna play with it, like play around with this, let us know.
Sure.
So we kind of did like a little hybrid where we were still getting under full orders on the roaster profile, and then we're like, hey, here's 5 pounds of a loring profile, yeah, just so you know, we are going this direction. You don't really get a choice, but like play around with it, let us know. So yeah, we did that for probably a month and a half.
Nice.
And then went full bore on the loring. We got that when we moved into this warehouse, so that would have been 2021? No, 2022. Yeah.
What batch sizes are you doing in the loring?
26, 25 pounds.
Mhm.
25 for single origin, 26 for blends.
Nice. And consistent batch size for every. Cool.
Keep as many variables consistent as possible.
Amen.
Yeah. And I see you have like buckets, and like over there were buckets. So do you put all green from the like jute bags into buckets?
I don't double scoop. This is where all of our roasted coffee goes into. It can fit 2 batches in each barrel, and then I wheel them on over for production.
Very cool. And tell me about this little cart here, because this is absolutely brilliant for roaster cleaning.
Yeah. So this is something our previous roaster, he built this.
So simple, so perfect.
Yeah. He was all about. We do have the stoner as well. So build this little stand for the stoner.
On wheels, we love them.
Very DIY stoner. So yeah, it's like a fluid bed in there. So after the batches come out, we're tossing it in there. And yeah, getting rid of all of them. We're DIY as hell here, so it's all.
Yeah. And roaster cleaning every Friday.
Yes, definitely.
We love to see it.
Yeah.
Very close. Yeah. And are your racks usually like all full? How much coffee can you fit in here?
Yeah, so we, this is a little sparse right now. We are in our current green coffee crisis of 2025. Just waiting on some of the containers that we have coffees booked in to be stripped. A lot of them are at port. We're just wait for them to each strip. So this is normally a little bit more full, but we do keep it, pretty lean. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we can fit 3 pallets per rack, per level. So we do try to keep it pretty well stocked. That said, we're probably running about 2 to 3 weeks worth of inventory of green here, and then drawing down. We primarily work out of Houston with Dupuy.
Yeah.
We do put some coffees in the annex, and every now and then we have some stuff go continental. But being in Denver, Houston's the best just from a freight perspective.
Yeah.
But honestly, that is one of the biggest challenges of being in the middle of the country. I know Cafe Imports has got it really dialed with their whole system, but because we do so much direct trade,
It's expensive.
Yeah,
Ship to the middle of the
exactly. Probably the biggest challenge has been cost, and then transferring that cost in a sustainable way to our customers. So the C market stuff just threw so much, so many variables into how we were sourcing. Not that we, do much with the C market itself, but because producers had opportunities to sell their coffees for so much more, which was awesome. It was tough for us then to be like, hey, we've been working with you for, I'll give you an example. The Honduran company, the guys that we work with, that Traceability Project, the main exporter for them was a group called Catracha Coffee, and it was run by this really amazing dude. His name's Lowell. He's an American who did his Peace Corps down there in the 90s, met a local woman named Myra. Myra's like this badass woman who is just the queen of Santa Elena. She ended up, actually, she still currently works for an importer in the US, won't say who. And so they created this whole project, Catracha, as a way of building up, particularly women in the community. They do a bunch of art programs, food programs, and it's all through coffee sales. But Lowell and Myra were the funders of it. So like for them to go and export, they were at their peak, they were doing 3 containers a year. To finance those 3 containers, they were pulling out loans with that one importer that Myra works with banks and all of that. And then they were sitting on this personal debt of $100,000, $200,000. And so with the C market, when Honduran coffee was being purchased at cherry or parchment level, C market was crazy, right?
Yeah.
And so producers are looking at it like, dude, I can sell a pound of cherry for X. You're offering me just a tiny little bit more than that. And Lowell was looking at it as like, if I buy that coffee now at this price, it doesn't hit the market until September.
Yeah.
And what if C comes back down and now no one wants to buy washed Honduran coffee, an 85 Honduran, really nice coffee, not going to blow anyone's mind. Are they really going to buy that for $6 a pound?
Yeah.
Probably not. So he's like, I'm going to get stuck with all this. And so he straight up decided to take the season off and told every producer that was in their network, like, look, go sell your cherries to Comsa, like just get the highest price you can, do what you can, but like I can't participate this year, which is really tough. He called me crying. It was like Claudia and Juan, who I was literally just talking about. Juan ended up selling his coffee cherries to Comsa, and we're not going to get that coffee this year. And I talked to Juan, and Juan was like semi-stoked because he got a good price for it, but he was also like really apologetic, and he was like, I'm sorry that I can't sell you my coffee this year. And so we're trying to like figure out moving forward what are ways to still participate in specialty coffee with these very smallholder producers that when the sea goes crazy, you know, how do you still incentivize, especially how do you still incentivize direct trade?
Yeah.
While at the same time respecting the fact that like producers need to make the money that they didn't make, and like there's no harm. There's like I was not upset. It was like, yeah, hell yeah, go
Get
make
your
it.
money. Yeah,
Like,
totally.
get the paycheck, like do what you need to do, and if C's gonna be high, you know, cash in.
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll see you next year.
And that's the thing. That's the tough part for us is looking at it like, how do we translate that story? How do we translate like these high prices to a customer that expects to be able to get a drip coffee for $3?
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing. Is like being able to storytell around it, connect people to it. What's really tough is when you have larger companies that are able to weather. I mean, not to name names, but we know people that were said like this is just gonna be a loss leader for us. Coffee this year will be a loss leader. Why? Because we have investments and other business divisions that are outside of coffee that we can make profits on to carry this division right now, right? And so yeah, you can still go to the grocery store and find $12 a pound coffee, which is just not real. Like that is not an actual true reality of the cost of that coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're running it as a loss leader, so they don't care.
Yeah.
But customers don't understand that, don't see it, and so ultimately it's hard for especially a shop like us, a very small one that has these relationships, and then be like, well, I'm sorry, like that $12 coffee is actually a $26.
Are you guys in grocery stores as well?
We pulled out of the grocery.
Okay. Yeah.
We were.
Good for you.
Yeah. It just became. It was not sustainable from a relationship standpoint.
Yeah. 100%.
Super low margin.
Yeah, super low margin, and once prices started to go so far up, I felt bad going to the producers that we work with, being like, "How cheap can you go?"
Yeah.
Like that just it felt icky. So yeah, we actually pulled out of our contract and said this is not for us.
How do you handle, especially because you're so invested into Nicaragua, like how do you handle this entire tariff situation?
Honestly, we just rolled it. Like, you don't really have a choice. Like, I signed a petition that said, "Hey, take coffee off of the tariff list." That's about as much as I can do. I put in a couple of emails to our state representative. That's about as much as I can do on that side. And again, when it comes to relationship, it's not like Byron and Sarah were, like, hell yeah, let's get some spares. Like, they're not supporting it. So like at the end of the day, these are all external factors that we don't really have control over, and we have to learn to roll with those punches. We have at our retail locations, we have started to play around with the idea of having a little 10% like tariff line item to show customers like, yo, the moment the tariffs go away, this goes away. And just being honest with it, I'm just like, look, like end of the day, we're not making money from the tariffs. It's not like it is a tax against us, and it's a tax against you, the consumer. And so, yeah, if we can have a little line item that just says like the moment it goes away, this 10% goes away. Because what I hate is seeing, and it's happening a little bit on the green side as well, is that these tariffs get so clouded now in like the smoke and mirrors.
Rolled into it.
And when you ask some of the big trading houses like, hey, why is it like, where is the tariff cost within this baked into this? And they're like, oh, well, because it's a futures thing and a replacement thing. Like we gotta do this, we gotta do that. And it's like, I don't think that's true.
No.
So
Little bit opaque.
Pretty easy for you to say, this is the cost of the green. Here's the tariff tax. Like, so I don't think the smoke and mirrors of it all is healthy for the economy, healthy for consumers. So as traceable and transparent as we can all be, I think that's the way to look.
What do you do with your jute bags and your like Grain Pro EcoTact things? Do you do anything with those?
I usually post them on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
Kyle was putting them on Craigslist. I used to do it for free. Like I had a bunch of artists or farmers that need up for to use it for different things. So
Nice.
that's fun to be good. I just saw that we had it.
Yeah, there's a nice big stock there.
So yeah, I got some wheeling and dealing to do.
A lot of gardeners will be
Yeah. And I see the cement mixer. You guys do post roast blending. Do you do any pre roast blending?
We do free roast. If I had the choice, I would say only post roast. I might try to make that switch, but it's a lot of extra labor.
Sure.
But yeah, if I had my way, I would only.
Yeah. Going back to the jute bags, you actually do work with a local dude. He's just a guy.
Just a guy with the sewing machine.
Yep, just the guy with the sewing machine. But he comes through and he grabs bags.
Pretty.
Probably every other week, and then he makes these hats, and then we sell them. He gives them back to us after he makes them, and then we sell them in the shops. So yeah, these are been fun little things to use the jute bag. I mean, it's not using all of them, but
Sure.
it's He's been making these hats now for probably about 6 months with us.
Nice.
We've been selling in the shops, and they've been selling really well.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Nice.
Rose. And then with the Grand Pro, we do bring those down to some of the producers I do work with. So when I travel to Origin, I normally bring a bag with a bunch of Grand Pro, just because it's,
I can reuse them at least.
Usable thing,
Sure.
and it's a cost for them a lot of times, and so
Yeah.
let's bring those from Guild.
Cool. And what's your quality control process? Do you do cupping? Yeah, production cupping every day? All right.
Morning, Monday. Oh, yes, on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, I cup everything. We roast the day before. A little gassy, but you can separate that out.
You get used to it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we cup everything. That way, if I need to make a change, it's happening the next
Instant.
production day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do you roast to order then? Or like how do you just determine your volumes in your batches?
Yeah, we use roaster tools, so anybody who places an order for delivery the next day, we're going to produce that day. So we have a couple of wholesale accounts that like different, like a darker roast or a beanie burn. So we do roast like specifically for their purpose.
Like white label sort of?
Yeah. And then we do for some of the like bigger volumes, like with Belafonte and Bottle Rocket, like you saw, we will package those like this week, even though that's not going to go up next week.
Sure.
Well, we just have at this point we know like roughly X amount of Bella is going to be going out next week.
You just keep like a part.
Yep. So we do that for the blends, and then single-O's are all to order.
Nice.
Yeah. And we use Cropster for profiling and inventory tracking, cupping samples and all of that. So we use that software for the quality control too. Yeah.
And sample roasting? What's the sample roasting sitch?
Yeah, was that the Agawa? Yeah, so upstairs is our makeshift lab. You guys want to?
Yeah, let's go see it.
Yeah.
Show the people.
Our open station here. We make all of our syrups for the cafes. We do all of our syrup production up here. We're in the middle of remodeling, so this is really rough.
Things on their sides.
Yep. So we are going to be building out a whole bunch of cabinet sets for this back wall here. Our lab espresso machine is currently being loaned out to a wholesale account, so we don't have our espresso machine set up. But we've got our batch brewers where we're down in recipes. And then, we do all the cupping here. There's our little Akawa that we do sampling on when we're getting pre-ships and arrivals and all that fun stuff. So, and there's our all the samples that come through.
All the samples. Wow. How many coffees are you sample roasting and cupping every like week or?
So it kind of depends.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our buying is done on relationship. It's kind of when the coffees arrive. So I'm on WhatsApp pretty much every day talking to the producers that we work with, and so like the Peru that we were just talking about with Rome's de Valle. He volunteered, runs that full program. He got samples coming for me and should be hitting next week, and he'll probably have anywhere from 5 to 15 different lots to be looking at. So yeah, kind of just depends on the origin of the relationship. Very few, it's not that often that we're hitting up an importer doing like, hey, what do you
Send
have?
us something.
Yeah.
So you're doing all forward buying, all forward contracting, no spot?
I would say 95% of it is forward. If we happen to, so for example, with the Gregory and Isakov release that we did, that actually, we didn't plan well enough for that, and it hit a lot better than we thought. And so it actually wiped through our stock. So I was like, oh shit.
We gotta
need
get
more
something.
coffee.
Yeah.
So in those cases, we'll do some like emergency spot buying.
Sure.
But by and large, it's all forwards. So we got a whole like forecasting spreadsheet that we built out. We try to run anywhere from 4 to 6 at most single origins at a time on the menu. And so we have kind of a whole little calendar that's color coordinated that we built out to show like, okay, we think the run rate on we normally buy a 10 to 15 bag lot for a single origin lot. That's going to last us anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks. That's kind of as small as we want to go. Just give enough time for us to really dial in profile, give our cafes enough time to really work with the coffee. And because anything less than that, we tend to blow through so fast that it's like by the time the cafes are like, we finally really value ingredient, it's like, cool, that was the last roast of it.
Yeah. New coffee.
Yeah.
And how many employees do you have, like in the warehouse?
Yeah, so warehouse wise, Joan's doing all the roasting. Our dude Drew is doing all the packaging and production. Nate is our delivery guy, and then there's me and Luke, and then Eric does a little bit, our oldest brother, on like the financial side of things. He's kind of more the CFO. So there's really only six
It's a
of us.
tight ship.
Yeah, we run it real tight.
What's your like split between how much coffee goes to your cafes and wholesale and like outgoing retail?
Yeah, I would say probably 30% goes to the shops, 70% is wholesale. Our online is like very minimal. We don't put a whole lot of, marketing effort into that. That's definitely something that we're looking at for 2026.
Sure. Well, it's
we're
7
actually-
shops in town. Like,
Yeah.
you've got places to put the coffee.
Yeah, exactly. So we opened our first shop in 2018, and then just opened shop 7 a month ago. So it's been kind of really focused on that for the last couple of years. Obviously, there was a little COVID pause in there, but yeah, we've really been hitting the retail shop game hard the last probably 24 months. Queen City is owned by myself and my 2 brothers. And when we started, we had no intention of doing retail at all. We just wanted to roast. My background is in international development. I used to live in Zimbabwe, working with coffee farmers. And so, yeah, the idea was to directly source from producers that we know. And, I'd been a barista, previous life, but did not necessarily love like the cafe game. But we had an opportunity to do our first one in 2018 in this collab space with the brewery, and it just really kicked off, and people received the coffee super well and like the story behind the company super well. And so very quickly we had another opportunity to do a second one, and it was like shit, like it just kept kind of snowballing all these opportunities. And so we sat down as the brothers probably into that opening that second one, and we were like, look, if we're really going to scale this company in a way that provides livable wages, sustainable careers, we're all in coffee, we know this, like you need volume. And one of the quickest ways to get volume out is through retail. And so even though we weren't necessarily like super stoked on being a retail company, I think we just kind of came to that realization of like, if we can get to a solid base, our target was 5, of having 5 shops that felt like a good foundation, coupled with a business division of wholesale. If we, we wanted to be around like, 2,000 pounds a week on wholesale, if we could hit that. So that's really where we're putting our efforts in 2026 is wholesale and retail or online sales. And so, yeah, I think for us, it was like, if we can get that base, that gives a good foundation to be able to provide careers that are not just like, hey, you're a barista and hey, now you manage the shop. So like our leadership team, we have a director of operations for the retail. We have a general manager underneath her, and then we have shop managers underneath that. And then we have, our director of coffee, head of coffee. So, we've been able to kind of build out a leadership team by kind of focusing on the retail base. So that's been kind of the decision behind doing retail.
That's super cool. I love the like intentionality behind it. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow for more coffee and coffee roasting content. Catch you next time. Happy roasting. Cheers.